A man and his guide dog are inseparable. But one day they get separated during a walk. The dog refuses to leave the man's side, even when he can't see it. The man is blind. His name is Tomas. He was born without being able to see anything. So his parents adopted a dog for him when he was still just a baby. They wanted to give him some sense of independence so that he could get around by himself without having to always rely on other people. And it worked perfectly. Tomas grew up with the dog by his side. He was always there to help him. And when Tomas was 18 years old, his parents officially gave him the dog to take care of. It was a golden retriever named Buddy. And even after all those years, their bond was unbreakable. They were literally attached at the hip. They would go everywhere together, and Buddy knew the streets of their city better than anyone else. He knew every single corner and every single person that was close to them, and he was always there to warn his owner about everything that was going on around him. One day, Tomas and Buddy were strolling through the park when suddenly a violent wind started to blow. There was also heavy rain, and Tomas felt something strange in the air. He didn't know what was happening, but Buddy started to growl. "What's wrong, boy?" asked Tomas, feeling a little bit scared. He felt like something bad was about to happen, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Buddy started barking furiously, but then suddenly there was a loud boom and everything went black. When Tomas regained consciousness, he realized that he wasn't in the park anymore. He was lying on the ground next to a collapsed wall. Everything was destroyed around him. He felt blood coming out of his head, and he couldn't find Buddy anywhere. He started calling for his dog, but there was no reply. He tried to get up, but he could feel that he had seriously injured his leg. He must have broken it when the wall fell on top of him. At that moment, he felt completely alone. He couldn't see anything, and he couldn't find his dog anywhere. But then suddenly, he heard a familiar bark. It was Buddy. He started moving towards the sound, and suddenly he felt something wet licking his face. He could believe it. His dog had found him. Buddy was barking and whining at the same time, licking his face while trying to get closer to him. But Tomas couldn't move. He was trapped under the rubble, and he was in a lot of pain. He was bleeding, and he felt like he was going to faint. But Buddy stayed by his side until help arrived. People started to gather around them, and soon enough, they managed to pull Tomas out of the rubble. He could hear Buddy barking at them, but he couldn't see any of them. When the first responders finally arrived at the scene, they were able to take care of Tomas's wounds and put him on a stretcher. And guess who stayed by his side the entire time? Buddy. The dog refused to leave Tomas's side even when they put him on the stretcher. He stayed there licking his face and comforting him until they arrived at the hospital. When they finally pulled Tomas out of the ambulance and helped him get off the stretcher, Buddy stayed right there wagging his tail, not wanting to leave his owner's side. Everyone at the scene was moved by the dog's loyalty. They couldn't believe how much he cared for his owner. As soon as Tomas was able to get out of the hospital a few days later, he went straight to look for his dog. He was very lucky to be alive. If it hadn't been for Buddy, he probably wouldn't have made it. And as soon as he saw his dog, he hugged him tightly. He was so happy to be reunited with his best friend. And Buddy was equally happy to see his owner again. From that day on, their bond became even stronger. They knew that they had been through something really traumatic, but they knew that they had each other, and that's all that mattered.